Well, I'm definitely not a food blogger, but I do know an awesome bundt cake when I taste one. So good, in fact, that I made this pumpkin bundt cake for both my birthday last year and again this year. And the best part is it mixes up in 5 minutes. You literally dump all of the ingredients into your mixer, but it is so good. Let me share the quick recipe with you coming up next. Well, hi, I'm Dawn from theminimalmom.com and also a regular contributor here at ithinkwecouldbefriends.com. And actually, this recipe for this pumpkin bundt cake has become very popular recently. And so I just wanted to take a minute to share the recipe with you because it is so easy and it is so good. Tom offered to buy a cake for me this year and I said, no, please don't. I will just make my pumpkin bundt cake again because it's so good and all of our guests love it as well. So we're having some family over for dinner tonight and I know they'll all be excited to see this on the table. But really quickly, before we get started, one of the ways I've simplified entertaining and meal planning and all of those kinds of things is just to have some really good recipes that I go back to time and time again. Trying new recipes, it requires more brain power and a lot of times you have to buy ingredients that you don't have. And so this bundt cake, along with my chocolate one, are huge hits amongst our guests. People are always asking for the recipe or just for me to make it again. So I'm going to link to both of these recipes down below. But let's get started and I'll just show you really quick what goes into this pumpkin bundt cake. In fact, it's so easy that an 8-year-old can make it. Okay, so here are the ingredients that you need. You need a spice cake mix, a pudding mix, 1 cup of pumpkin, a 1/4 cup of sour cream, a 1/3 cup of oil, a 1/2 cup of warm water, and 4 eggs. And then literally we're just gonna dump it all into the stand mixer. So I like to put all the wet ingredients in first, and then we add the cake mix and the pudding mix. Once it's all mixed up, make sure you grease your bundt cake pan really well. I love this bundt cake pan. I'll link to it down below. You can find it on Amazon for under $10, but the cakes always come out perfectly moist. They cook through evenly, and for under $10, it seriously works great. If you don't know if you'll buy into this whole bundt cake fad, it's a good one to start with, but you'll probably just, well, A, you're gonna love bundt cakes if you haven't made them before, and B, I've probably made at least 50 in this pan, and it shows no wear at all. So again, I'll put that link down below. Oh, and don't forget to preheat your oven to 325. And now it is in the pan. We're gonna throw it in the oven for anywhere from about 50 to 55 minutes. Keep an eye on the time. With a bundt cake, you kind of wanna err on the side of just a touch undercooked. And so I know in my oven, 53 minutes is perfect. All right, once it's done, let it cool in the pan for 20 minutes. This ensures that it doesn't stick to the pan and then it flips out perfectly onto your favorite cake stand. My twin sister loves frosting. She loves homemade, but I don't have time for homemade right now. So this is the next best thing, Betty Crocker rich and creamy cream cheese frosting. And honestly, a lot of times that I've used this, people ask me if it's homemade. So you know, why even do homemade and just use this instead? So all I do is I put it into a gallon Ziploc bag and then I cut off the corner to frost it. Okay, so I have my frosting into the Ziploc baggie. Of course you can use a piping bag, but I like that I can just throw this away when it's done. And then I just cut off like 1/2 inch of the corner. Now, if you're not confident in your piping skills, you can just warm up the frosting and just kind of pour it over the top like a glaze. Okay, so I just start on the inside and then just make a bunch of loops all the way around it. If you mess up or if you get off and your pattern's not perfectly even, then you can just go around a bunch of times and make it look kind of like a sporadic pattern. Nobody cares. If the cake tastes so good, like you could just blob the frosting on and nobody would care, seriously. Okay, just like that. Usually 1 container of frosting is plenty. Well, overall, it was an awesome birthday, and people always ask if it's really cool having a twin sister, and yes, it is. We wish everyone could have a twin because it is really cool, and so we're grateful for it. We try not to take it for granted. And so thank you for celebrating a little bit of my birthday with me. Coming up next, we're going to talk about meal planning and also paper clutter. Aren't both of those just kind of a pain in the butt? So I'll link to those videos down below.